係一個敢做敢當嘅人。即係如果我做咗咧就做咗，如果我真係同小龍咧即係做愛，佢死咗啦，我都會承認。
Betty Ting Pei has at last spoken out about the truth surrounding Bruce Lee, sending shockwaves around the globe. For years, the enigma of Lee's untimely demise has captivated the world, spawning countless theories ranging from drug overdose and murder to familial curses. Despite endless speculation, the mystery has remained unsolved until now. Dive into the revelations Betty Ting Pei has shared about the circumstances of Bruce Lee's death. Who is Betty Ting Pei? Betty Ting Pei, born into a distinguished family in Taiwan in 1947, hailed from a lineage adorned with doctors and historical notables, including a general in the National Revolutionary Army and a chief of police during the warlord era. By 20, she dived into acting with Shaw Brothers Studio in Hong Kong, debuting in The Purple Shell in 1967, and later starring in hits like The Millionaire Chase in 1969 and The Yellow Muffler in 1972. Renowned for her performances in romantic dramas and notable scenes, her career trajectory shifted when she met Bruce Lee in 1972, alongside Raymond Chow and Linda Emery Lee. This encounter spiraled into a deep friendship, marked by mutual respect and authenticity, though it also ignited rumors about their closeness. Bruce Lee's last day alive. On July 20th, 1973, at the height of his career, Bruce Lee navigated a day full of promise and plans. He finalized a letter discussing significant opportunities, including a multi-picture deal with Warner Brothers and a proposed animated series by Hanna-Barbera, showcasing his optimism for the future. Post-letter, Lee visited Golden Harvest Studios, engaging in creative talks with George Lazenby and Andre Morgan about the Game of Death project, marking a day filled with potential collaborations. The day took a turn when Lee, seeking a break, visited Betty Ting Pei's apartment instead of finalizing a deal with Raymond Chow, hinting at an intimate relationship with Pei, who was later described as his girlfriend. Their time together, marked by personal revelations and shared moments, was interrupted by Chow's unexpected visit, raising questions about his intentions. Amidst this, the oppressive heat seemed to affect Lee, leading to his unwellness. Despite attempts to alleviate his discomfort, Lee became unresponsive, prompting a frantic Pei to contact Chow. Efforts to revive Lee failed, leaving him lifeless in Pei's apartment, a situation that threatened reputations and required a swift narrative change to avoid scandal from overshadowing Lee's legacy. A shift in the narrative. In a tense moment, Raymond Chow adjusted Bruce Lee's clothing in a dimly lit apartment, debating whether to take Lee to the hospital or back home, ultimately opting for medical help. He instructed Betty Ting Pei to discreetly inform Lee's wife, Linda, about the situation without revealing Lee's identity. When Dr. Eugene Chu arrived and found Lee unresponsive, he realized Lee had already passed, prompting him to call an ambulance while keeping details sparse to avoid public alarm. As the ambulance navigated the city to Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Raymond planned how to manage the unfolding crisis, advising Betty to maintain silence. Despite medical efforts, Lee could not be revived, and the news of his death quickly spread, causing confusion and speculation among the public. Linda Lee, faced with her husband's sudden demise, stood by him one last time, finding strength in his memory for the challenges ahead. The police's arrival at Betty's apartment signaled the start of an official inquiry, adding to the complexity of the day's tragic events and the inevitable shift in the narrative surrounding Bruce Lee's untimely death. A made-up story. Raymond Chow deftly constructed a narrative to divert attention from Betty Ting Pei's apartment following Bruce Lee's death. In a bid to protect Lee's legacy from damaging rumors, he guided Linda Lee to Dr. Langford for support. Together with Linda, and later joined by Andre Morgan from Golden Harvest, they crafted a narrative for the press, presenting Lee's death as a tragic accident in his garden, while Queen Elizabeth Hospital cited acute cerebral edema without delving into specifics. Their collective efforts aimed to shield Lee's family from public scrutiny and preserve his memory, concocting a story that stood for 3 days. Despite their success in temporarily quelling media frenzy, speculation continued to swirl, hinting at the eventual unraveling of their carefully constructed tale. Accounts of events from Betty Ting Pei's perspective. On July 20th, 1973, Betty Ting Pei's life changed forever when Bruce Lee was found lifeless in her bed, casting her into a vortex of blame and scrutiny. In a 1983 interview, Ting voiced her anguish over the relentless speculation and unfair accusations surrounding Lee's death, vehemently denying any responsibility. She recounted the day Lee died after taking a painkiller for a headache in her apartment, a place they had met to discuss the game of death. Ting described Lee's deteriorating health leading up to his death, attributing it to his intense training and determination to push his limits, which included using high-voltage stimulation. The aftermath of Lee's death saw Ting facing overwhelming public and personal scrutiny, exacerbating her mental health struggles to the point of battling schizophrenia. By 1976, Ting had married, a union that lasted 4 years but was instrumental in her recovery. Eventually, seeking solace from the spotlight, she withdrew from show business in 1980, turning to Buddhism for peace and fulfillment. A deeper look into the case. Following Bruce Lee's death, skepticism arose over the narrative provided by Golden Harvest, prompting a journalist to investigate. Delving into hospital records, he discovered that Lee was picked up from Betty Ting Pei's residence, not his home. This revelation contradicted the story promoted by Raymond and Linda Lee and ignited a media frenzy. Despite attempts by Betty to support the official narrative, evidence of Lee's frequent visits to her apartment and neighbor testimonies challenged this version of events, forcing the creation of a new narrative that sought to protect Bruce's legacy and shield his family from scandal. This effort to revise the story aimed to clear Betty of blame while maintaining Lee's image as a family man. However, the autopsy revealed unusual signs, such as organ congestion and brain swelling, leading to speculation about cannabis intoxication as a possible cause of death, amidst a backdrop of sensationalist media coverage that speculated wildly about the circumstances of Lee's demise. The situation escalated when photos of Lee's body, taken in the morgue for a bribe, circulated, amplifying conspiracy theories. Betty faced intense scrutiny and threats, reflecting the broader social unrest reminiscent of the 1967 riots in Hong Kong. The government stepped in to investigate, amidst growing public fear and speculation, complicating efforts to transport Lee's body to Seattle and further entrenching the mystery and controversy surrounding his death. Other theories about Bruce's death. Amid the swirling mysteries of Bruce Lee's death, theories proliferated. Some suggested that Betty Ting Pei might have been an unwitting player in a scheme by the Triads, notorious for their violent methods. Lee's history of altercations with these criminal syndicates lent credibility to such speculations, with rumors of past confrontations with gang leaders' sons casting long shadows. Another narrative posited that Lee's refusal to pay protection money on his film sets had sealed his fate, suggesting triad retaliation. Adding complexity, there were whispers of mainland Chinese gangs orchestrating Lee's demise, viewing his cinematic success as a threat to their interests. Even Raymond Chow, Lee's business partner, faced scrutiny, with some speculating about motives to control their joint ventures posthumously, especially given the release of Game of Death, which capitalized on Lee's posthumous fame. Further theories ventured into the mystical, proposing Lee's death was the result of a vendetta by traditional Chinese martial artists, incensed by his sharing of kung fu secrets with the West. The narrative of a secret duel embodying a clash of martial philosophies hinted at ancient martial arts curses, including the lethal touch of death. Myths of a family curse, purported to doom the Lee lineage to tragic ends, also emerged. This lore, suggesting a predestined fate of sorrow for the Lee family, contrasted with the longevity of Bruce's brothers, challenging the curse's legitimacy. Each theory, from criminal plots to ancestral curses, contributed to the legend surrounding Bruce Lee's untimely demise, leaving more questions than answers in the quest to unravel the truth. The latest hypothesis. A new theory has emerged regarding Bruce Lee's sudden death at 32, focusing on potential kidney failure, as suggested by Spanish kidney specialists. Their research points to Lee's low sodium levels and chronic hydration, possibly exacerbated by his lifestyle and marijuana use, which increases thirst. They suggest that Lee's intake of pain and anxiety medication could have contributed to a fatal kidney dysfunction, preventing his body from properly processing water. This condition might have led to the brain swelling known to have caused his death. Despite these insights, the truth behind Lee's death remains shrouded in theories, with the exact cause still elusive.